Journey to the Savage Planet is a sort of... Right, the best way to describe it, I had no idea what this game was going in. There was a trailer saying something about crafting and playing with a friend and stuff, and I was like, okay, maybe it's like a survival game or whatever. And with the heavy influence on co-op, I assume that it would be like an open-ended thing. Maybe you land on a new planet every time, and then you've got to survive for as long as you can. But it's not that at all. It feels like, from the 2 hours we played, a very straightforward campaign where it's more of a Metroidvania style game where you land on a planet, you've got nothing, no weapons, no nothing. You have to go out, scavenge resources and put it into a 3D printer on your spaceship and print off things, but it looks like you print them off in order. Well, it's certainly initially anyway, where it's like, okay, first you have to make a gun. So you go out, you have a little look around this planet, you find things, you go back to your spaceship, you get enough resources to build a gun, and then every time you go in and build something new, it allows you to explore a new area of this planet that you've not had access to before. So there's a grapple hook, and you suddenly realise that there's certain things you can grapple onto. Once you've got that grapple hook, it gives you access to those areas. A double jump is the first sort of major stepping stone in getting into new places. But it's laced with this humour and this art style that sort of... I mean, you said it while we were playing, but it really reminds me of Banjo-Kazooie, like nuts and bolts.
It's looks insane,
sort of
doesn't
overly
it?
cute...
Like, it's...
I gotta say, it is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me of Nuts and Bolts, because I remember seeing Nuts and Bolts and thinking, I mean, this is cartoony, and we're in an age where everything was trying to look deadly realistic. This is one of the most, like, it's one of the best looking games I've ever seen. Like when I was talking about when Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts come out. And it reminds me of that, where it's like, this is overly simplified a lot of stuff, you know, all of the vegetation around the planet and stuff is all very basic, really, when you look at it as, you know, if you were to go up close to it.
There's not a huge amount of detail. But there's an art direction
it opens
to
up
it.
And you see the fucking full tower that you're supposed to climb and everything around it, you just think, whoa, shit. And what done me was that there was this huge platforming section that Matt did, and I wasn't able to do it, and we knew it was the wrong way to go at the time, but Matt got to the top and he was like, oh my fucking god, you've got to see this, it looks incredible. And we decided to move on before I got to the top there. I know we'll go back to that area, Matt, but
it was that point I'm like, this is a weird thing to say, because it's not a type of game, but I'm sort of getting Banjo-Kazooie vibes. Did you do the platforming section that we're referring to, Sean?
The bit where something's like, there's the things blowing you off these leaves that you're jumping on.
Okay, no, got
yeah, I got to the top of this, like this. It was nowhere near the top of that tower, but I got to the top of this platforming section, and the fact that you can see, you know, this massive expanse in front of you, but it isn't realistic. It's not realistic, like location we're looking at or environment. But it just looked fantastic. It looks sort of cartoony, but like weird sort of Banjo-Kazooie vibes. Not quite sure why, but
in terms of gameplay,
it's really impressive to look at.
What you're mainly doing is there's a little bit of combat here and there. There's a little bit of puzzle solving here and there. But I think the main thrust of the game, or what I was enjoying so much, was the exploration, because it really does feel like you're plonked into the middle of nowhere and there's so many directions you can go, you just don't know which way to go, so you start testing things out. It's also an experimental game where, like, for example, you come across a gated off area. It's like vines, spiny vines in your path, but next to it is like this big fan with eyes. And you're kind of like, right, how do we get past that then? And then you slowly work out. When we found out a solution to that, Matt, I think we both just pissed ourselves laughing, because it's just, it was brilliant. And you know, there's lots of moments like that where you have to sort of work out. We're playing in co-op, obviously, so we were trying to work out, can we get past this bit yet, or do we need an item? I think it's quite good you've got like an AI that's talking to you non-stop throughout. I can see that getting a bit irritating. It wasn't in the 2 hours we spent on it, but there was the AI was
in those 2 hours.
It
was annoying and it was funny. It made me laugh. It made us laugh a bunch of times, actually.
I was going to say, I mean, not to digress, I'm really surprised how funny this game is.
Yeah, because it has that feeling like where you watch it and it's like when you see the kooky adverts that's played in your ships and that opening intro and stuff, you're kind of like, oh my God, this is going to irritate the fuck out of me. It just doesn't, does it? It plays it just right. It just hits that right
the
sort
fucking,
of...
I'm always a fan. I'm always a fan of like games where they have like live action, like in-universe videos. Like Control did it really well. This does... Yeah, more the same where you can go in your ship and you watch a video of this actual actor who's like the person you're liaising with back at base camp or whatever. And I do always appreciate them. It's a thing. It's sometimes that they can go into being embarrassing or cringy, but I think actually, genuinely on the whole, I really liked them, and I liked them in this one as well.
The fucking Wally. The advert for Meat Buddy. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, Meat Buddy. Yeah. Have you seen the one where you can like grow humans and in like their own little like shopping mall and stuff?
Yeah,
that's also quite
good. So the story is that you're an explorer and you've been sent to a distant planet to see if it's right for human life, right? But then you slowly realise that the company that sent you there, A, don't know what the fuck they're doing, and B, have properly set you up to fail, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like they've given you nothing to work with, and the guy's just kind of like, yeah, you're probably going to die. There's no way of getting back.
Yeah, it's based on the assumption that like the first couple of videos say lots of people were sent out, and we don't expect you to encounter any sort of intelligent life or anything at all. And then after you like scan things, I mean, there's a lot of scanning in this game, exactly like No Man's Sky. It's very No Man's Sky in that regard. You scan everything, and then that gets added to your sort of encyclopedia of knowledge. And then when you go back into the ship, that I guess gets sent back to HQ. And then it's very clear suddenly that hang on, no, there is stuff on your planet, and actually we want to investigate further and see what the hell is happening over there.
Yeah, and I think what it did for us, and this is where I'm interested to see what your experience was like, Sean. Mm-hmm. What it did for us is that we sat down, we had a laugh and a bit of a chat, but mainly we were just bouncing ideas off of each other and just going, what does this do? How do we get past this? What do we have to do next? Because it does just enough to explain what you should be doing, but leaves enough so that you're questioning things that you're doing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You're seeing different paths and going, have you been down here? Come down here. Look, what's this do? Oh, I don't know. What happens if you do this? Oh, that works. So, yeah.
I love the fact that you're not tethered to each other. Like at one point, we're like at different locations. I'm over here at this particular mission marker. You over there, or I died.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I said, you should go back over there because there's a thing over there we can do. And like, although it's a co-op game, we wouldn't have to be on the same screen. Or
that
next
is
to each
very
other.
weird when you're playing Halo at the same time, and Halo does that thing where, like, if you're too far away from someone, it's like, we'll just warp you right there. We won't ask you or anything like that, but just warp you right next to your teammate like that. That is fucking jarring. But yeah, and here we were completely different parts of the map, weren't we? And which was interesting because everything you do, from leveling up to because you do level up, like to scanning items, everything. If Matt did it affected me as well. And that was great because it was like we had 2 missions to do, and essentially we both went off and did the missions separately for a bit, and everything Matt was finding was coming up on my screen as well. So it's good that I like that stuff because
so if you leveled up, I leveled up, and I think I had loads. I was collecting resource for a certain mission or certain thing to get in to print in back in the ship. I got those resources, went back, printed it, and suddenly it's in your inventory as well, which is really cool.
That's the other thing as well, and another thing that could affect if you're playing this solo or with a card partner. If one of you dies, you can revive them, but if you've got like 20 seconds to revive them, so it's there is a benefit to staying near your partner, but more importantly, if you die twice, I think it's got that Dark Souls thing. Well, if you die and you get back to where you died, you can pick up your resources. But if you die and you don't get back there, then you've lost those resources.
Okay.
So to bank your resources, you teleport back to your spaceship because there's teleports everywhere and you use them. But it just felt so fresh and such an interesting experience. For we've played games where exploration's been like the main thrust of gameplay, and they're great. We love games like that. I think we all have an appreciation for that style of game, but doing it in a co-op setting like that just gives it that new edge that I'm sure games have done before, but because we're both playing this at the same time and discovering it at the same time, it's been a really interesting experience to sort of just bounce ideas off each other and talk about things that we've seen. And, you get that moment where you see something cool and you're like, come here. And then you wait for them to turn up and stuff. It's I like it.
The locations are so varied. Obviously, you're on that, at least so far we're only on one planet. But on one planet, you can be like a snow section 1 minute, to like lava
caves
and
down
fire
in the
the
caves
next,
and shit.
and that was then like
the
you're in a
lava
forest
level.
area.
Yeah.
It's
So it's really
fascinating
vibrant,
because
and around every corner could be something different, which is really cool.
it's fascinating because if we pretend that space exploration games exist on a spectrum from No Man's Sky to Outer Wilds, right? In No Man's Sky, lots of weird and wonderful shit, but it's random and often quite does get a bit samey at times. And then Outer Wilds on the other end is like super authored and and there's all these like precise mechanisms all sort of ticking away behind the scenes. This sort of feels like a halfway point between the two, in that it is authored, it is all hand built, but it's got that sense of like, I've got no fucking idea what I'm going to see next. Like it feels
totally,
quite random in a good way. In that it's,
well, that's it. When I first loaded it up, I just assumed it was like a roguelike.
Yeah.
Every time you go in, it's like everything's randomly generated.
Yeah, when you first land and you come out of the ship,
that
and it just looks so odd that it straight away you're like, oh, this is this. Yeah, it's just like algorithmically generated. Is this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really interesting. I do now, I was enjoying it. I do now feel like I'm missing out playing it on my own.
I think you might be.
Yeah. But
honestly, because it's just such a good game to knock ideas about on and discover that stuff with someone else there.
Yeah.
I mean, we say that about most games, right? Like, most games are better in co-op.
Yeah, of course.
That's just a standard thing. But, I'm interested to hear what, how the sense of because I suppose the sense of discovery from us felt so non-linear because we were both all over the place.
Yeah.
But did you have that feeling of I'm discovering stuff, or did it feel a little bit more like a linear experience for you?
I suppose in a way, yeah, it does. It has felt quite linear because although obviously, there are multiple paths to take at various points. Like I'm only ever taking one path, and it feels like and it's felt like I've just sort of taken what to me felt like the natural route through, and so I can see what you mean. Like it would feel very different to have someone else wandering off in a different direction and being like, oh fuck, look at this! I've just found this.
But it's also fun, even when we're both trying to get up that platformer section. I'm saying you're like, well, where do I go now? Like jump there, jump this, do this, and go in that corner of the rock to jump over. So even that was a big help.
Yeah,
I played it actually
hurt my ego that bit.
You just need to get better at your jumping.
Matt Murray.
I played a little bit actually today because I wanted to see what it looked like.
Whoa, what?
No, because I wanted to test, and sadly, it is what we suspected, Dave. Whereby, because it's co-op, I went to play, and obviously I had to start again. But
you were playing on my game, right?
Yeah, it's one of those.
Which is, I guess, it's understandable. It's just every game does it. It's just sort of annoying. But I guess I can. There's probably lots of complicated reasons why that is the case. So I played a bit of the campaign, and it definitely was lacking a certain something. I've seen some reviews today because the embargo dropped today, Monday, as we're recording this, and reviews are a bit all over the place. Like some have said, it's fine, it sort of, loses its way, or the combat's not great. Others said, actually, it's just a fun little sandbox. But one of them I read said, the co-op's tacked on. It's like, well...
Oh, no way.
I don't know.
No way. It feels really essential.
But arguably, you could say, well, actually, single player is not a good compared to co-op. I don't know. It seemed like it was just another good mode. And if you've got co-op opportunities, do it. If not, then single player still could be interesting. So, I'm not sure about that. But also, reading the reviews guide, this game is only like 25 quid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
25 quid made by a small team. And I think like that feel like makes it feel like even more impressive, really.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. Especially down to the looks. I mean, they've nailed that sort of weird look, but still looks beautiful thing.
Yeah, totally.
It really worked. Like, Gone Home was a little bit like that, where it would look terrible, and then once you were way up in the sky looking down at all the shit that you made, you were kind of like, oh right, that's actually pretty beautiful. It gives it's that sort of feeling, really. but on a bigger scale, I think.
Did you say Gone Home? Or Grow Home?
Oh, not Gone Home.
Yeah, you think grow home?
I don't remember that bit. But
I was like, well, did it have an art style that's...
Do you remember when you were up in the basement and you were looking down and saw the shit that you read? Yeah, no, I mean going home or whatever. Growing home.
Yeah.
Growing house.
Grow home.
Grow Home.
Grow home.
Or the sequel, Grow Up, which is also very good.
Yeah. But no, I'm you know, it's a shame that we've only got a couple of hours into this so far, but I really am looking forward to playing it. And I was saying to the lads that were asking me about it, like, they were going, oh, should we all get it? And I was like, well, no, because it's not going to be like our big multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're all waiting for at the moment, our next big multiplayer game that we hammer every night. But I said, if you could get a partner and just play through it, I mean, based on what I've played so far, I think you'll have a very good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read Joe's review as well, and obviously he's got a better opinion than I have because he's played through it all and everything. And he said it really leans on the combat later. I don't really mind that. I mean, I don't like what. That's not the right way of saying it. Like, I'm not too worried about that because I think the combat is like, you can tell that the first person shooting in this game wasn't the first thing they worked on.
Yeah.
You know, like, it wasn't. It feels way arcadey. But at the same time, it kind of benefits from that because, you know, everything locks on really easily. It doesn't feel like I'm struggling to aim.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be like that than, say, Uncharted 1, where you felt that the shooting wasn't the major part of that game, yet the shooting in that game felt too sim-like, if you know what I mean. There wasn't enough lock-on. It didn't have that sort of pop and shoot.
Yeah, but I can see
feelings.
how that would be annoying because right now I'm just enjoying the fact that there's loads of wildlife across the planet that we've seen so far, and not all of it is. It tries to attack you. So I quite like the fact that I don't have to be shooting everything. There's a couple of enemies we've seen that you do have to shoot them before they kill you, but I don't want then. And I'm also really enjoying the loop of like seeing something new, scanning it, getting resources, building things, doing a little puzzle. I don't then want it to go into like a shooter with woolly shooting mechanics, and I'm losing sort of the mystery and the adventure that I'm enjoying up to now. So hopefully it's not that bad, but I'm definitely have to play more. It's really good experience.
I did have a really funny moment because before we played it in co-op, I just wanted to make sure that there was no tutorial that I had to get through before we started our co-op session, Matt. So I logged in and did the first few bits on my own. And I had a moment where, you know, you see those little chicken things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just like popping about, all like they're the cutest looking things ever. I went up to one and it was like, you must scan them or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I'll scan them. And I was like, oh, fuck, I've forgotten what button I pressed to scan. And I accidentally press X and you slap it and it just explodes in green pus. Like, I burst into laughter. Like, I thought it was so funny. But yeah, this game's full of moments.
Yeah, I'm a very big fan of the farting animals.
Yeah, my favourite ones are the two little chicken things. They're like stuck together. Like they come together. Right? Have you seen these?
I don't think I have. No.
There's these two little bird things, but they're stuck together. Like if you hit them, they split into two, change colour, but then start screaming and running around at high speed.
Yeah, they're great.
So they start screaming, they run off, and then you'll be like, oh, right, okay, that's weird. But then all of a sudden you'll hear as they run past you again. And the first time that happened, man, I had tears in my eyes. I was laughing so much. I was going, Matt, you got to come in. Matt, you got to come in.
but little do you know, I could still hear them because they were screaming across the planet.
Yeah, I've got high hopes for that game. If it keeps it up, I don't know how long it is, but if it keeps it up, then I think this could be really, really good fun.
Yeah,
but
I get the impression it's not a massively long game, but I'm up for that.
That's
as well.
fine by me. Yeah. But you should find yourself a co-op partner.
Yeah, I'll try to. It's a shame because it's PC and Xbox One, isn't it? But it's not a Windows Store game.
Oh, right, okay,
so
you can't play with people
no
on Xbox.
cross-play, unfortunately.
Shame.
I have to find another PC nerd.
Well, it's out the day this podcast comes out, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's on the very first, yeah.
Yeah. So, check it out. Journey to the Savage Planet.
Yeah.
I was massively impressed with it. I'm really looking forward to going back to it, actually, Matt. It's good.
It's
Right.
Oh no, sorry, it's out on the 28th. So actually, I think it's out Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so it's out yesterday. Yesterday, Matt.
Yesterday,
Old news, mate.
Good. Right, okay. Matt, have you got anything else on your list that we haven't spoken
I
about?
finished Stories Untold. James and I spoke about it last week.